Hello and welcome to the next edition of the Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Voice of the Customer podcast series. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Interoperability Solutions, your host and moderator for this ongoing discussion on IT innovation and how it's making an impact on people's lives. Our next security innovation and transformation discussion explores how home maintenance, repair, and services provider ServiceMaster develops applications with a security-minded focus and a DevOps benefit. Here to share how security technology leads to posture maturity and DevOps efficiencies with many business benefits, we're joined by Jennifer Cole, Chief Information Security Officer and Vice President of IT Information Security and Governance for ServiceMaster in Memphis, Tennessee. Welcome, Jennifer.
Thank you.
We're also here with Ashish Kuthiala, Senior Director of Marketing and Strategy at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise DevOps. Welcome, Ashish.
Thank you, Dana. Glad to be here.
We're glad to have you here. Jennifer, tell me, what are some of the top trends that have driven your need for security improvements and that perhaps also spurred DevOps benefits?
So we actually started with DevOps and then kind of realized security could benefit from that. Luckily, security was a little bit ahead of the curve from the rest of the organization, and we were able to get in on the front end of our DevOps transformation. The primary reason is we're an 86-year-old company that has 7 brands under one umbrella, and we needed to have one brand, one voice, and be able to talk to our customer in a way that they wanted us to talk to them. So that means enabling IT to get capabilities out there quickly so that we can interact with our customers digital first. As a result of that, we were able to see an increase in the way that we looked at security. Our penetration test, things that we were normally doing after the fact of a release, we were able to do at the beginning of a release, and also teach our developers along the way that security is everyone's responsibility. So we got very lucky that we had a C-suite that was willing to invest in DevOps and an agile methodology. We also had developers in our grassroots effort of training them that were willing to learn and with right intent deliver code that would protect our customer. And those things kind of collided, and we've got the perfect storm. So we're delivering quicker. We also fail faster, so we can go back and fix things quicker. And we are seeing an uptick in what we're delivering being a lot more secure.
Ashish, it seems obvious, having heard Jennifer describe it, DevOps and security, hand in hand, a whole greater than the sum of the parts. Are you seeing this more and more in the industry?
Absolutely. I think with the adoption of DevOps increasing more and more across enterprises, for me, security is no different than any other quality assurance testing that you do. I mean, you cannot let a defect reach your customer base. You cannot let a security flaw reach your customer base as well. So if you look at it from that perspective and the teams are willing to work together, you're actually treated no different than any other QA process. And this boils not just to the vulnerability of your software that you're releasing out there in the marketplace, but there are so many different regulations and compliances, internal, external, your own company policies that you really have to take a look at. And you do not want to go faster compromising security. So it's an essential part of DevOps.
Yeah, DevOps allows for continuous improvement too. So security becomes at the front of a traditional SDLC process, which in the old days, security came last. We found that after it was in production or something had been compromised, now we're at the beginning of the process, and we're actually getting to train the people that are at the beginning of the process how to deliver things that are safe for our customers.
And why, Jennifer, is security so important? Is this about your brand preservation? Is this about privacy and security of data? Is this about the ability for high performance to maintain its role in the organization? All the above? What did I miss? Why is this so important?
So depending on the lens that you're looking through, that answer may be different, right? As a CISO, for me, it is making sure that our data is secure and that our customers have trust in us to take care of their information. The rest of the C-suite probably feels the same, but they're also very focused on getting digital first out there, making sure customers can work with us in any way that they want to, and that their experience, their ServiceMaster experience, is healthy and they want to come back and do business with us, obviously generating revenue, right? But at the end of the day, for me, it's making sure that we're doing what's right. We're training our teams along the way to do what's right, to ultimately just make the overall world better. As these young people move into different companies, we want to make sure they have that foundation of thinking about security first and the customer. We tend to put IT people kind of in a back room and they really never see the customer. This allows them to see what they could have released and how it could have harmed, and we get an opportunity to really train for the future. So I believe through my lens, it's about protecting our data and making sure our customers are getting something that does not have vulnerabilities in it.
Now, Ashish, user experience is so top of mind for organizations, particularly organizations that are customer-focused and in residences like ServiceMaster. When we look at security and DevOps coming together, we can put in place the requirements to maintain that data, but also means we can get it more data and use it more strategically, more tactically, for personalization, for customization, and at the same time making sure that those customers are protected. How important is user experience and data gathering now when it comes to quality assurance and making applications as robust as they can be?
It's a million-dollar question. I'll give you an example of a client I work with. I happen to use their app very, very frequently. And I happen to know the team that owns that app. And they, told me about 12 months ago that they'd invested, let's just make up this number, $1 million in improving the user experience. They asked me how I liked it. I said, your app is good. I only use this 20% of the features in your app. I really don't use the other 80%. They're not so useful to me. And that was an eye-opener to them, because $1 million or so that they would have invested in enriching the user experience, if they knew exactly what I was doing as a user, what I used, what I did not use, where I had problems, they could have used those $1 million towards that 20% that I use and made it better than anybody else in the marketplace. And also gathered information on what is it that the market wants with monitoring the user experience with people like me. So it's not just the the availability and health of the application. It's the user experience. It's understanding the empathy. It's having empathy for the user, right, as an end user. So HP of course makes a lot of these tools like HP App Pulse, which is very specifically designed to capture that user experience and bring it back before you have a flood of calls and support, people screaming at you as to why the application isn't working the way it's working. And security is also one of those things. I mean, all is good until something goes wrong. So you don't want to be in that situation when then something has actually gone wrong and your brand is being dragged through mud out in the press, your revenue starts to decline, and then you look at it. We know very well that there's a restaurant chain who got affected by food infection, and they're still not able to recover. So it's one of those things that you cannot look at it after the fact.
Jennifer, this strikes me as an underappreciated force multiplier, that the better you maintain data integrity, security, and privacy, the more trust you're going to get more data about your customers that you can then apply back to a better experience for them. Is that something that you're banking on at ServiceMaster?
Absolutely. Trust is important not only with our customers, but also our employees. So we want people to feel like they're in a healthy environment where they can give us feedback on that user experience. But what I would say to what Ashish was saying, as far as DevOps actually gives us the ability to deliver what the business is wanting IT to deliver. In the past, 25 years, IT has decided what the customer would like to see. In this methodology, you're actually working with your business partners who should, in theory, understand their products and their customers, and they're telling you the features that need to be delivered. And then you're able to pick the minimal viable product and actually deliver it first so that you can capture that 20% of functionality. And then also, if you're wrapping security in the front of that, that means I'm not going to come back to you later with a penetration test and say you have all these things to fix, right? Which takes time away from delivering something new. So this methodology pays off. And I'll tell you, the journey is hard. It's tough because in most companies, you have a legacy environment that you have to support, and then you have this kind of new spaceship or application environment that you're creating. And there's a healthy balance that you have to find there, and it takes time. And it's not all fluffy clouds and unicorns every day, but we have seen quicker results, better revenue, our customers are happier, they're enjoying the ServiceMaster experience instead of our individual brand families, and we've really, really embraced the methodology.
Do you have any examples that you can recall where you've done development projects and you've been able to track that data around that particular application, what's going on with the testing, and then how that's applied back to a DevOps benefit? So maybe just walk us through an example of where this has really worked well.
Yeah, as generic as possible, but we actually, about a year and a half ago, started with one of our brands, American Home Shield, and we started to look at where the low-hanging fruit was in that. So let me describe the business a little bit. Our customers reach out to us. They purchase a policy for their house for us to come in and be able to maintain their dishwashers, any kind of appliance in their home. But it is a contractor-based company, so we actually then send a contractor out who's not a ServiceMaster associate. So we have to make that work and make our customer feel like they've had a seamless experience with American Home Shield. So we had some low-hanging fruit there, and we actually went after it and drastically changed the way that our customers did business with us. And now it's caught on like wildfire. We are really trying to focus on one brand, one voice. The fact of the matter is all 7 of our brands are home services. We're in 75,000 homes a day. That's not very difficult to duplicate. And we needed to know who was a customer of all the brands so that we could customize the way that we market to them. We could give them discounts for being, a customer of all the brands. But DevOps allows us to move faster into the market and deliver that.
Now, Ashish, frankly, there's not that many vendors out there that are security vendors that do DevOps or DevOps vendors that do security. So Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, how have you made advances in terms of how these two areas that seemingly were separate that are now tied come together?
So I think the strength of Hewlett-Packard Enterprise in helping its customers lies with the very fact that we have an end-to-end diverse portfolio. So Jennifer talked about taking the security practices and not leaving it towards the end of the cycle, but moving it to the very beginning, which means that you have to get developers to start thinking like security experts and work with the security experts. So given that we have a portfolio that spans the developers and the security teams, we've been working hard internally. We have practices inside that we do this, but also like building our products in a way so that when developers are actually writing code, they can start to see their immediate security threats, whether this code is compliant with that or it's not. Even before the check-in, it'll run through security checks and follow it all the way through the cycle. And this is what we call feedback loops, right? So at any point, if there's a problem, it's rejected and sent back, or feedback is sent back. If it makes through the cycle and there's a known vulnerability that comes at the end of it, we have other tools like App Defender that will plug it in, still allowing you to go faster but protected.
It's locked in from the customer until you can fix it.
So Jennifer, I'll let you describe a little bit how you use some of these products.
Yeah, we've had a great strategic partnership with HP in this particular space. Application security really kind of caught on fire about 2 years ago at RSA, which is one of the main security conferences for anyone in our profession. And it was more for the everyday attender, and they didn't focus on the C-suite leaders. helping them understand how important this would be. I got fortunate enough that I had a great team member who came back and was like, we have to get on board with this. And we ended up having some conversations with HP, ended up in a great strategic partnership, which a lot of vendor partnerships I can say that about, right? They've really held our hands and helped us get through the process. In turn, I think that helped make them better as well as make us better, and that's what a strategic partnership should be about. But we actually are watching things as they happen, so you're teaching the developer on time, in real time. And then if something happens to get through, we have App Defender, which will actually contain it until we can fix it before it releases to our customer. So, and then if all those defenses don't work, we still do the penetration test. And so penetration test, we try to go back just grassroots, sit down with the developer and help them understand why they would want to do it different next time. We also participate in all their Scrum meetings. So someone from security is in every one of the development Scrum meetings and on all the product teams. So we are, kind of grassroots effort along with telling them more the why instead of you have to do stuff now. So we're trying to move out of that just overall governing role and move into a peer-to-peer type role and really help each other learn and explain to them why we want them to do things.
Well, it seems to me that having gone at this at the methodological level with those collaboration issues solved, bringing people into the Scrum who are security-minded, puts you in a position to be able to scale this. And I'm going to imagine that more and more applications are going to be of a mobile nature, where there's going to be continuous development. You're also going to start perhaps using more microservices for development, and ultimately Internet of Things. If you start measuring more and more things in your homes with your contractors, with your
75,000 homes a day, so you can imagine that all of those things are going to play a big part in our future.
Before we sign off, some perhaps projections as to where you'd like to see things go additionally. How can DevOps and security work better for you as a tag team?
Yeah, I think for me, just next steps for ServiceMaster specifically is making solid plans to get rid of our legacy environment so that we can truly focus on maturing DevOps and delivering for our customer in a safer way. So we're not always having to balance this legacy environment and this new environment. If we could accelerate that, I think we'll deliver to the customer quicker and also more secure.
That kind of sounds like composable infrastructure.
Possibly.
Ashish, last words. What should people be thinking about if they're on the security side of the house about DevOps that they may not have appreciated?
I think this whole approach of adopting DevOps to deliver your software faster to your customers with higher quality itself says it. I think DevOps is an opportunity for security teams to get deeply embedded in the mindset of the developers, the business planners, testers, the whole life cycle, which they earlier didn't have the opportunity to do so, right? They would only come in as maybe, special forces when something went down,
to fix something, yeah.
or before things went to production, and often they would push back the production cycles by 3 months, 2 months, because they have to do the right thing. Now they're able to educate, sit down with them, tell them exactly what they needed designed, and it's just their opportunity to actually make this a lot better and secure for their customers.
Yeah, I think the key to that is security being a strategic partner with the business and the rest of IT instead of just being a governance body.
Well, very good. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. We've been discussing how home maintenance, repair, and services provider ServiceMaster develops applications with a security-minded focus and a DevOps benefit. And we've seen how security technology leads to a posture maturity and DevOps efficiencies with many additional business benefits. So join me in thanking our guests. We've been here with Jennifer Cole, Chief Information Security Officer and Vice President of IT Information Security and Governance for ServiceMaster in Memphis, Tennessee. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And we've also been joined by Ashish Kuthiala, Senior Director of Marketing and Strategy at Hewlett-Packard Enterprise DevOps. Thank you, Ashish.
Thank you, Dana. My pleasure to be here.
And I'd like to thank as well our audience for joining us for this Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Voice of the Customer Security Transformation discussion. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Interoper Solutions, your host and moderator for this ongoing series of HPE-sponsored discussions. Thanks again for listening, and please come back next time.